All right, good morning, good morning, good morning, guys. Welcome to our broadcast. How are you folks doing? How are you guys doing? It's the 28th day of January, believe it or not. That's where we are. The 28th day of January. It's gone. As I want y'all know, it's gone. By the time we touch the weekend, we're in a new month already. Are you guys satisfied with how you spent January? That's what you want to know. Are you satisfied with the way things went for January? Mandy and Eric, Joe, Simone, are you satisfied with what you've done, the work you've done? In New York City, it's 14 degrees, according to Joe on the live with us this morning. Right. 14 degrees. Make the best of it. Make the best of it. Make the best of it. Is it snowing there? Is it snowing in New York? Hope you guys have had a great evening into this morning. You're fired up again and you're ready to go. Debbie Apple and Elise and Paula Jones and all the other beautiful folks joining us. We're still, I shouldn't say we're still in. We're now getting started with the scrutiny of budget estimates 2026. We're now beginning that process of interrogating the estimates and expenditure. And I really want to know how we all doing there. I want to know how you all doing, how you all feeling, how it going. Now Joe says it's not snowing. It's not snowing. It's cold. Tommy says it's cold, cold. Tommy Gibbs, Simon Graves says it's freezing in New York City. Right? It snowed last Sunday. Yeah. You having a rough time? Guys, make the best of it. Make the best of it. Cover up. Y'all know everything. Wrap up. Next time I can be better prepared. Next time I can be much, much better prepared for it. So interrogating budget 2026. Still, so much is happening. So much is happening. Enough. Plenty. A lot of things happening. How are you folks doing this morning? That's the important thing. That is the important. How are you guys doing this morning? Budget 2026, biggest budget ever, longest budget ever, Biggest budget ever. Longest budget presentation. You know, infrastructure again gone with a lot of it. Gone in infrastructure, $191 billion. That's what them boys driving Hummer and Rolls Royce and Lamborghini, and that's what them boys mansion so big. That's why it's so big. Them boys said work hard, you gotta live nice. Work hard and live nice. You know, we got a number of things happening, folks. A number of things happening that I want to bring you guys up to speed on. A number of things that are happening. There's a flooding occurring in Linden. We talk about infrastructure. They're trying to fix the road there. And so there's some flooding that is occurring. But while that is happening, the guys don't look too much as if they're cognizant of the damage that's being done. You know, they don't seem as though they care too much. It's like they say, flooding. What is a flooding? What is a flooding? Plenty of things are happening in this country. A lot. You know. Well, let us making sure I got everything I need with me as we begin this continued scrutiny, as we're in this period, as we're in this cycle of budget 2026. Right? As we continue our scrutiny of budget 2026, try to get not too excited. Let us touch base with our colleague there in Linden, the mayor himself. I want to hear from him, the mayor himself. What is going on? What is happening? What is transpiring there on the ground? There's a lot happening. Excuse me. A lot of things are happening. Yeah. Apologies. A lot of things are happening. I know the farther out you go, you got so much happening across this country. The farther out you go. But I hope you guys are good and well from the many places you all are joining us from this morning. That makes all the difference in the world as we continue our scrutiny of budget 2026. Let us see if we get a word in with the mayor this morning in Linden there, and he will be able to tell us some more. What is the progress being made on the ground? Mr.
December, because they were doing some because of the construction work being done to the new Wismar Mackenzie Bridge. They have engaged the government through the RDC, and they have did some revetment work, because the real issue is that the main outfall to that area is clogged up. It's clogged up. The tube is damaged. That the tube, because the tube runs under the road. Presently, and I only got a call 2 days ago that is still by residents again, because this was ongoing since December. No report has gotten to my office until 2 days ago. Upon that report, I head straight to the area where the flood has been affected.
Mr.
We have a number of residents.
Stick a pin, price. I would rather suppose that when these, or before these roads are constructed, you got maybe environmental impact assessments or something similar that might envisage the likelihood of such occurrences. Right? A road don't start fixing on a village flood. I mean, like, what is that?
And that was a concern by the residents, that no consultation have been done with the resident, because even though if they had that assessment that impact assessment that you're talking about, we would alleviate these same issues and these problems that we're facing today. And if they have gotten a chance to talk to residents, this would not have happened. They would have give them some solutions because they know the area better than anyone. Again, Sherrod, this is lack of planning, poor planning. These are things that we see ongoing for the last 5 years. It's something we're enduring. It's something that I'm hoping that you guys at the national level ensure, because I know that because I'm now also elected by the nine council to ensure that things like these be put forward.
Yeah, here one of our viewers saying, no engineer study, no engineer study, and that is the disconnect we see repeatedly, Mr. Mayor, in municipalities. The government comes in, they know everything, they don't need any input from the MTC, as in the case of Linden, and they just get about doing what they got to do. And now here you've got a community being flooded, lives are disrupted, livelihoods are lost, are damaged severely, and there's a kind of pedestrian approach to it when it comes to central government. We see it over and over again.
Yeah, that is so true, and I don't think and this is why I'm saying I think we need to have they need to have national intervention to this matter, because of as we do assessment. When I first got on the ground, we recognized there were just about 30 or 35 homes were being affected. As the CDC came in yesterday, because as soon as I got on the ground, I reported the CDC. I was there. Today is a Wednesday. I was there on Monday. Monday, when we were there with with our assessment, myself and councillors, we have seen that 36 families have been affected, homes have been affected. The CDC came in yesterday and did some further assessment, and we recognize is over 80 something homes are being affected. We got some homes that we have not gotten a chance to go. The CDC left yesterday afternoon. We see additional 12 homes that have been affected. So we're still even assessing the city, because this area that is clogged up, it runs because as the rain falls, as we accumulate rainfalls, it affects other parts of the area.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a domino effect. So for more homes and more lives are being affected. We yesterday, one of a farmer within the area lost some livestock. So he lost some pigs and some household appliances.
Mm-hmm.
As so far, a person had to evacuate, because there's with this person in the immediate area of the flooding, they had to evacuate. So these are the things that we're looking at, and we think and I'm saying it's a disaster waiting to happen. And we can't take this haphazard approach. What we need at this present, I've just engaged the RU. They're saying they have engaged Public Works. I'm hearing that the minister is sending back an engineer this morning to make a further assessment. We're hoping that I engaged, like yesterday. You noticed my post. I was asking for a pump because
Correct.
a resident
Correct.
has loaned us a pump, but that pump is not enough. So we want a larger pump.
Mm-hmm.
We have engaged Bozai. Bozai promised this morning they will send out a more bigger pump, so we could see we engage.
Both sides is helping a little bit. You said the CDC
Yes.
is on the ground. What form of help? I may have missed it. What form of help is the CDC bringing?
The CDC, so far, they brought some cleaning supplies. They brought some cleaning agency with bleach, like soap powder, a bucket, and a couple of things. I'm not paying attention. Out from my office, along with council, we have donated, because we recognize that their area could cause a lot of environmental hazard. We have donated long boots, protective gear to those families, because traverse in and out of water, because there's no way you could avoid it. You can't avoid it. And it's over time, the water is being contaminated. We have disease like leptospirosis that we're trying to avoid for families to being affected. So the CDC, they came in, they brought some supplies. It was not enough because, like I said, our first initial report was 36. But when the CDC came, we recognized more persons being affected. Persons continue to call and say, we are here. They are experienced flooding, but they don't know what's the reason why. they're now reaching out and say, we're here, we're unaffected, but it's kind of difficult to get to them.
Yeah.
The
So, Mr.
CDC
Mayor,
promised to come back.
for all intents and purposes, this flooding is man-made. This isn't rainfall. This isn't overtopping. This is man-made.
Yeah, yeah. So
Poor,
yeah,
poor engineering. You know, one of the things I've recognized, Mr. Mayor, is that when it concerns places like Linden, for instance, in particular, which you are the mayor, there's a
yeah,
slothfulness in central government. I've been on the ground there with you guys when you had that freak storm and roofs were blown off and houses almost came down, and it took a long
yeah,
time to get the attention of central government. By
yes,
extension, I've seen other places suffer similar fate. You know, act of nature. But I see the men on mission running. You know, prime minister running
yeah,
quick and bring relief.
yes,
A lot of relief
yes.
too.
Yep, yep. You're so correct.
Why
You're
the
so
ice
correct. But
past Linden and places like
I,
Linden?
I know, I don't know. Like you know, what I mean, so if I'm always saying at this time we should put, irrespective of your political affiliation, and it should not be the expense of the people. I think as a government you have responsibility. Whether what September the 1st, where the election is done, you have a responsibility. And I don't know why it continues to happen to Region 10. I think everybody knows this. As of now, everybody knows the situation. Everybody, the government should have been here and have taken a hands-on approach. I'm hoping that I don't know the information has gone to them. It probably is a minor problem. So I'm still trying to work out what information have gone to the government on this. But I've engaged all.
They know. Because if they have representatives on the ground, like you, they have councillors at the um, municipal and regional level. The town clerk is their guide. They must know the severity of what is happening there, or they're in a position to know, even if they don't know.
Yes,
Constructive knowledge.
yes,
You're in a position to know what is going on. And if they're in touch as they claim to be, you know, it is not going to be lost on them. But as we're talking about being in touch, there always seems to be there's distance between what they say and what they do. Oh, we care and so on. And as we said, this very, very slow response. And here we are. Here we are. You've been calling, for instance, for this meeting to elect the chairman, and the minister don't want to
yes.
instruct the gentleman in charge there, the REO, is it? And
Of
and
course,
and
correct.
he isn't moving either, but they're gonna talk about how they love democracy and how in 2020 we try to do this and that. But look at them now. 3 months later, we just recently swore in the leader of the opposition. So the rhetoric is far removed from the reality. That is the point I'm
You
trying to make. Listen.
that you're quite correct. I mean, our position within the region, we're welcoming the reconvening. We prepared for the reconvening of that meeting. Region 10 must have a chairman. We are waiting. The minister have said that this been in the hands of the regional executive officer, and we support that. For democracy, we prepared to have that meeting reconvene at the earliest
Yeah,
given point.
this seems much the same. Viewers,
Yeah,
you all remember when President Ali said, "Oh, as soon as the speaker comes back, as soon as the speaker comes, it's." Mr. Mayor, thank you so
but
much. Anything else you want to add?
well, Sharon, again, look, myself, we have responsibility as leaders to advocate and represent the interests of the people of this town and this region, and we continue to do so. And they, no matter how much they try or what they do, they would not muscle, they would not quiet us. We will advocate for this region, and we recognize we have to take a different approach. That where government is they're going to neglect the people, we're going to come together and we're going to ensure that our people are being looked after. Just like the issue we had with the house that fell in Blueberry Hill. If I should give an update, that house, I'm very upset on how the government did. It was a natural disaster. We have pitched in, did humanitarian work as a councillor, but the government has a responsibility, and we will continue to do things, initiative like these, ensure that our people, our residents are safe. Sharon,
Yeah,
thanks for having me this
yeah.
morning. I would continue to keep you updated on what is happening.
But
Um,
but
to
Mr.
blend,
Mayor, Mr. Mayor, on the note of
yeah,
this house that you tell and this update you give me, again, that's a case in point. Somebody could get a house who never asked for one. The president can be passing by and somebody touch the hem of the garment, boom, you get a house. And here's a genuine case where a house fell down and you got challenges with men on a mission or the first lady or any number of entities that building house under this administration. You have a 10, 15 entities that building house plus central housing and planning. Here's a genuine case, and you were saying you got some challenges in even getting a genuine case looked at.
And the circumstance with and how the house fell, it was a natural disaster. Is a natural disaster. Is a home of eight, include a 1 year child, include an elderly woman. These are things that we should have, that I believe that you have a government, you have a responsibility, and these are things that you should look after the interests of the people. And then we always say, and we see the budget as as we're in the topic, we see the budget, and we always say that if you're gonna do things for the people, it must be for the people. You're gonna put something for the people. It must be for the people.
Perhaps
We're not.
it is this perhaps when it happens in Linden, in Region 10, it's not a natural disaster. It changes. The nature of the thing changes. Mr. Mayor, before I let you go, we are talking about budget 2026 because this matter here does touch on concerns. Money would have to be expended on this to get this problem fixed. I know you've been busy on the ground with this, but have you had a chance to listen to hear? Have you formulated any initial thoughts on budget 2026? What is your initial reaction? I know you might have been busy.
I want to dive. I just the copy was now online because I want to dive and see what is there for Region 10, what is there for the people. I just have a broad detail and see what they go. And I see some of the things they're put forward. I like the theme is the APNO team is putting the people first. But I want to dive into that budget document, see what is there for Region 10, so we could extract it and see how we could and see what is actually there or they're not for the people of Region 10. So I don't want to comment as yet until I get a chance to scrutinize that budget.
Oh. Excellent, Mr. Mayor. The point is taken. Thank you so much. Thank you for your hard work. Thank you for coming by in such very short notice.
All right, thanks, Emmy. Sure. All right.
Take it care. All right, there you heard it from the mayor himself. There's a lot happening on the ground there. It's a lot happening on the ground there in Linden. And we're going to keep our hands on the pulse of it and keep you guys notified on that. Turning to some other budget matters this morning. Agriculture, $113 billion expended on agriculture. $113 billion and 13 billion from that, 13 point something billion from that is just Gaisuko alone. Has Gaisuko produced a pound of sugar at profitability? I thought they hired back everybody who they claim, who they allege, we fired from the industry. And yet the minister comes and talks about shortage. I have a man who understands agriculture. He comes from that belt. The one and only, our APNO shadow for this Ministry of Agriculture, Vincent Jordan. Chief, a very good morning. Welcome.
Morning to your listening and viewing audience.
Lay it out for us. I am so happy that you are here. I know you're heading to a very important meeting that I'm supposed to be at also, but you have had a cursory glance at budget 2026. Give me your thoughts on what you've heard so far, a general sweep of the sector, and anything else you want to cover.
Well, Sherrod, I want to start. I know the hot cake is always Gaisuko, but I want to start by bringing to the attention of Guyanese, and more particularly our fisher folk, the ones who the government normally run to at election time, especially when it comes to begging for the votes and all of that. The government has boasted about the largest budget ever, and they've also boasted about bringing relief to the ordinary. Well, they said it, the ordinary man. We don't see that. And yet, for all, the fishing and aquaculture industry in the agricultural sector, over the past years, they have, gone through the worst. And yet, for all, this government saw it fit to not only bring a meager sum again of $1.5 billion to that sector, but they have further reduced the allocation to the fishing industry by over $200 million. And Guyanese must take note, fisher folks must take note, that this is something that the PPP government has done. In that sector, you find that over the years, there's nothing new that the government is doing. There's nothing to improve the way fishing is being done in and around the country. When you check and you really analyze what the government is doing with regards to the fishing industry, you find that all that they're talking about is a man going out there with a cast net and throwing, and he got some fish. But when we look at the modern day fishing and we see how technology has evolved the entire aspect of how we do fishing, we recognize that this government has not placed any emphasis in implementing some sort of technological advancement in making that industry better. But what they did in actuality is focus on the prawns and shrimp area, and we all know who gets the kickback from prawns and shrimp, because you and I don't sit and eat prawns every day, Sherrod. The ordinary Guyanese don't sit and eat prawns every day, but yet for us, that's one of they claim a booming industry in Guyana. But who are the persons that are benefiting from that? And so I want to say to this government, before they come on Monday to begin the debate, they can look at advanced sonar and imaging areas that can enhance fishing in Guyana. They can look at areas such as forward-facing sonar, which allows anglers to see the fish and have the areas where fishes are in real time. They can also look at areas where in the modern world 3D and high definition monitoring is taking place. So our fisher folk
I know that
will be great or not.
we lost you there for a second. We lost you there for a second. I know you're moving. You're traveling, coming to this meeting. So I understand.
Oh, sorry. Where did you?
The last sentence or two.
Also explore 3D and high definition mapping. That is a new technology in the fishing industry across the world. We have the money, we can pump it into ensuring that we support our fisher folk and develop that industry. Not just come to the budget at the National Assembly and talk about development and talk about how much you want to invest in our ordinary citizens, when in fact in that entire industry the bulk of the money goes exactly where you want it, and that is to shrimp and prawns, of which you are the main beneficiaries of.
Yeah. So in your estimation, if this budget was really about, as the PPP borrowed the slogan, stole the slogan, putting people first, they would have been moving in this direction of the modernization of the fishing industry, because the fishermen, as you've said, they've been complaining. I think they just got $150,000 cash grant to be a little quiet, but they've been complaining all is not well.
That's right. And you raised the point of the cash grant, and Guyanese must understand that about 50% of the real fisher folk, they have not received the cash grant. Again, it went to a lot of friends, families, and favorites. We saw and we heard from many complaints that the mechanic on the road got the cash grant instead of the fisherman.
Yeah.
We heard that the people with big stores, people selling shoe and furniture and so on, they got the cash grant. People wake up in the morning and went and buy a crate and throw a net across the fence and say, they'll do fishing, they got the grant. So, in reality, I anticipate them coming later in the year for monies to put into this sector and to say they're going to bail out the struggling fishing industry again by giving to some fisher folk. But the reality is that they have not prudently studied this area, and they have not put in the budget anything that will benefit the ordinary fishermen. And so I believe the government has failed in that sector, significantly. They have failed. That was the first thing I wanted to highlight.
MP Jordan, just pick up in there, just before you go on, before you transition to the other area that you want to touch on. I don't want to underestimate for our viewers and listeners that point you have made that some get and some don't get. Part of this budget presentation, this 6.5 hours long trilogy, they labored on inclusivity and there for everybody and so on. But what you've articulated there, MP Jordan, is a real issue. I was up in Mabaruma recently, I was up in Linden, and PPP tell other parties and their supporters they can't get nothing. So on the surface, like Irfan did, when the speaker comes back, we have this election for the speaker, for the leader of the opposition. When the speaker comes back, we hear, you see, the democratic credentials, they talk, they think nice on paper. But in reality, you can't get nothing. And this is how they force you to join the ranks. They force you better join the party. They tell people very, very plain, it's not a flash in the pan issue, it's a widespread issue in this country. That is why we heard, for instance, MP Jordan, the gentleman in the region was Wickenham there, region 3. The gentleman said if you haven't buy the ticket, you can't get the cash grant. You remember that? You don't buy the hot dog ticket. That is a real issue. You better come on board, that's what we say. You better come on board with the program. But you can't get nothing. I don't want to underscore that because we hear it often. This country is becoming the haves and the haves not. Go right ahead, MP Jordan.
Yes, and just to touch there also, I've learned that the PPP, they have, well, in some cases, 2 or more faces, because there's one face that Irfan portrays when he's on the camera, and then there's another face when he is on in front, supporters, when he's in Freedom House, or whether he is among those. So I recall in 2020, when PPP told supporters of AFC that, bluntly, that they cannot get anything in terms of relief from the $10 billion that was passed in the National Assembly for flooding, because they voted for APNU. And it continues today. And so they force you to say that you must join them. But Sharon, also, if I may touch on drainage and irrigation,
right ahead.
I just want to give a broad overview.
Well, as you're touching on that, I'd have you know that we just spoke to the mayor of Linden, drainage and irrigation, the people building a road, and as a consequence of that, short foresight, the flooding a community at the same time. As you talk about drainage and irrigation. Right ahead, sir.
Like I've been saying over and repeated times, the incompetence of this government, I've said it with Gaisuku, they are incompetent, they lack foresight, they lack vision, they don't do studies, they don't understand structures, and so because of that, you will spend money, but in essence, you lose a lot from what you spend. Take, for example, in drainage and irrigation, that budget has increased to about 40, just over 40% from, I think it was 46 billion in 2025, and they now have about 82 billion dollars now in 2026. But Sharon, 40% of that budget we know in 2025, or from 2020 rather, coming to 2025, it goes back to the contractors, it goes back to the friends, it goes back to the families, the favorites, but it also goes back to income, or is wasted in incompetence. It is wasted in poor management, and in a lot of instances, it is also wasted in the wrong choice of location and placement of projects.
Yeah,
And when
yeah,
you look at all of that, and you bundle it with people like the critics and those persons who still have pump station languishing behind the completion date by 2 years, you imagine we have pump stations and SUSEs that started since 2022 and have not yet been completed.
wow.
But yet for all, this government is still putting monies into the budget to do payments for those very projects.
Yeah, yeah.
We cannot continue as a government in that manner.
And
We have a
and
government
MP Troy, for the purpose of our viewers and listeners, I want people to understand the scale of that kind of incompetence, because note what you've articulated in the drainage and irrigation sector, the drainage and irrigation component of the agriculture sector. We just came from Bartica, where they're putting up what they call a multi-purpose hall. Somebody started the foundation, right? The foundation is there, and they start to put up the columns, right? The column is supposed to be like this, the column so they have to abandon that initial structure, and then they put up the what should be the original thing. The columns are straight like this, and now they've even abandoned this set here, and that is what you saw when we went to that place there in Bartica. The whole thing now has been abandoned. We went to see some houses in which they're trying to correct some defective work. That has been abandoned. All of that is a cost that could go to something else in this country,
Correct.
bring relief to the people. So when you multiply that across these sectors, look what happened at your end there in Region 5, where the hospital is like a swimming pool. The whole
That's
roof
right.
gave way and the place flooding. That's a cost to the taxpayers.
You know, and as you speaking on it, it reminds me the pump station at Cottage when they put in one pump and somebody realized that hey, this is a bathroom pump, this is not a real pump. We gotta go and buy a bigger pump. We have to get an industrial pump. We already spent millions of dollars to bring the first one to install it. The minister came and said that they're 75% completed at one point in time in the year, and then came back late in the year to say that they're now at a low percentage completion. This is ignorance, it's madness. We have no proper engineering designs, we have incompetence to the max, Sherrod. We have in DNI, for the past 3 years, they're talking about these Hope Light canals. And you probably heard about it. We all know about it as a matter of fact. In Region 5, Region 6, and Region 3. They continue to budget for those Hope Light canals. Is it, when we look across the country, has anyone seen any sort of movement with regards to these Hope Light canals? After 2 years, have you seen or have you felt of it as impacted in terms of bringing relief in drainage? Have Guyanese experienced any sort of improvements in what the canal is supposed to do in their communities? No, because one, they are lagging far behind the completion date. But yet, for all in this budget, you will see contingency funds being pumped in the range of billions.
Yeah.
The thing about it is that there are one set of people who are getting the contracts. And we know the allegations surrounding the Hope Light canals where the billions are funneled. We know that the minister, the allegations are that the minister and his sons, they names are calling in
Yeah.
shell pump.
Plenty houses and vehicles and so on. Mass accumulation of wealth from selling chocolate and so on.
Right. And you know, the budget, Sharon, I want to bring this to guys. I think my colleague and lead ably put it out, Dr. Terence Campbell, with reference to the dredging of the Demerara and Orbis rivers. They selectively place these huge projects into the budget to give to their friends and families to enrich themselves. So Guyanese must not be carried away when they talk about largest budget. Because if you dissect this budget properly, Sherrod, or let us stick to agriculture, if you dissect this agriculture sector properly, you will find that the bulk of it out of $113 billion, 89 is in DNI alone. What happened to those in livestock? What happened to those in cash crop? What happened to those in fishing? What happened to the small man in coconut business? Those in agro processing? Those in the other high valued crops? You can continue to speak about it. Corn and so. There is only a name or a title given to these other areas, but the bulk of the money, Sherrod, if you
Follow the money.
analyze,
Follow the money.
if 82 billion alone goes to DNI and 13 billion goes to Gaisuku, then what is left in agriculture? What are we talking about? What agriculture are we talking about? What feeding the nation are we talking about? That is why the price for pumpkin cannot reduce. That is why the high cost of living cannot reduce, because we are not investing in agricultural produces by nature of crops and livestock. We're talking about infrastructure. We're building out, or they're building out for their friends and families through projects. And unless Chinese come to the realization and see what is happening and understand, because they have elected us, Sherrod, to come and bring some of these things to life. And when you take across the livestock area, I've made $1.9 billion. And we're talking about everything that will bring meat, eggs, and all of that to the market that will help to reduce cost of living. But yet for all, we have a minister that stands in the National Assembly and tells the Guyanese population that they are putting people first. It is far from the truth. If you were putting people first, we would have seen huge investment into those areas where we have the small farmers, where we have persons who got the 20 heads of cattle. We have persons who have the few shade houses. We have persons who do shallot. We have those who are into huge cash crop. Those are the small people that we need to meet. We need to get to them so that we can develop them. When we develop them, the prices for production, or the cost for production, will reduce. And then the price for commodity in the market will also reduce. And so, Sherrod, I don't see in no way this budget meeting the people, and in any way that it speaks to putting the people first. Well, we know that they stole the team as it is, because we started that since years ago. Development of our campaign messaging, and then we launched in last year. But Sherrod, they can steal the team, but they cannot steal all the ideas. They don't have the brain. And even if they have the brain, or somebody tell them, or they take it from us, they don't have the willpower to develop Guyanese. They are wicked.
Yeah,
they don't
implementation beating them.
Of poverty.
Yeah.
They don't intend to bring Guyanese out of poverty. And so that is why you see we have such a budget. But let me touch on Gaisuku, because Guyanese must understand, this $13 billion that they pump into Gaisuku, the government is complicit with the risk management and poor performance of Gaisuku. I said it to one reporter yesterday. Air Sonali is incompetent. The People's Progressive Party, Civic, the entire government is incompetent. The management of Gaisuku is incompetent. So who will school who? Who will discipline who if the entire team is incompetent? So when you hear them talk about heads will roll, and then they will bring have proper management, and we will increase production. We have 6 years with the return of the PPP. They promised to reopen all the closed sugar estates. Today they opened, we only know about the Rosal estate. They spent over $10 billion, and yet still they cannot produce one from the sugar at Rosal at profitability. Chad, further to that, the very estate continues to break down every single crop, 2-3 times the crop. We have long times. I am waiting to challenge the Minister of Agriculture and the Minister of Finance. He spoke about the reason they missed the target this year, or last year rather. It was as a result of inclement weather and this and that. But in the very next line, the chap so brazen and bare faced with his he came to praise the weather that caused them to have a good crop in rice. You see these people?
But the same weather was bad for sure.
The weather was bad. And those who come from that people would know that our weather pattern, yes, rice needs the rain and the water to get going. But it also needs the dry weather to harvest. And some of our harvesting time and pattern cross each other, both in rice and sugar. So how you gonna blame the weather for one sector and you're gonna praise the weather in another sector? Tell Guyanese that you're incompetent. Tell Guyanese that you're not concerned about the tax-paying dollars of our people. You just want to pump this money into guys because you want to keep your political claw or that stronghold over those in the sugar belt. And so they are prepared to do anything to have that political control over the people. But if in fact they do the right thing and properly see that guys who is managed prudently, Sharon, I can assure you we will have increased production. But so long as the PPP is in government, I am saying to Guyanese, we will not have it. In 2020, for example, when we left office, they came in at the end of the year and they inherited, I think about almost 90,000 metric tons of sugar. From the time it went to a full year, from them they went down to 40 and 50,000 metric tons. It cannot go back up to that among them. We left sugar at.
Yeah. Yeah. Struggling.
Yeah.
All the billions are pouring into it. They can't get the result. They can't get the result.
And so,
It'll be a backfire.
and so, Sharon, I don't see this budget that they call anything is wonderful. I can tell you because it is ours. But nothing inside, no meat, and this is just agriculture I'm talking about. No meat for the ordinary man. And so I am saying that this budget doesn't concern, it doesn't meet the needs of the Chinese people. And I don't believe that it will in any way benefit the ordinary man as we move through the months and come to the end of 2026. So Guyanese can be prepared to have a very harsh year when it comes to increase in prices and the cost of living, because the ordinary small farmers will continue to struggle. There's no food security in this budget because they talk about removing. Let me just they give them the benefit of the doubt. They talk about removing VAT and some other tax. I can't remember the exact term on farm equipment and so on. But Sharon, when you do the analysis, you will know that the VAT or the taxes will be removed at the top, but it doesn't meet the small farmer. When I turn up to go and buy him a cutlass, I still have to pay $2,000. When I turn up to go and buy my chemicals, I still have to pay the same price. And so the friends in that lily bracket that own the businesses continue again to reap the hard of what they put in the budget. The small man doesn't get the benefits.
Yeah, it's trickle-down economics. Don't work. We've said it time and again in this country. Time and again.
It don't work.
Yeah. MP, I know you're heading into your meeting. I gotta be following you. Don't let me keep you back. We have to come back and we got to do a deep dive on this agri sector. Please and thank you.
At any time. At any time. Thank you very much.
Please and thank you. Thank you for making yourself available again. Folks, you heard it there. Now this is someone who understands this sector. Understands like the back of his hand. Where he lives and dwells. As we wrap up, the initial thoughts, reactions to budget 2026 by our parliamentary lead, our new parliamentary lead, Dr. Terence Campbell. Take a look, take a listen as we wrap up this morning's show. Take a look, take a listen.
This 2026 budget, titled Putting People First, was quite underwhelming. There is no way that you can put people first and move old age pensions from 41,000 per year to 46,000 per year. Moving Social Security from 22,000 per year to 25,000 per year. That incremental increase is inconsequential. It's not going to help people much at all. In addition, the president promised back in August to have the Because We Care cash grant moved to 100,000. We only moved from 50 to 60,000. He promised 100,000 cash grant, transportation grant. Instead, we got 20,000. There were some good points about the budget. We got the lower taxes on four-door, four-wheel drive vehicles. We got the concessions for elder care and child care and so on. We got the development bank, where young entrepreneurs are going to be able to get some money at zero interest. And so those things will help to push entrepreneurship. I'm also concerned about the revenue side of the budget because it was based on a $59 per barrel for oil. And my estimation is that a more conservative figure of between 52 and 54 billion should be used. But even if we hold it at 59 billion, there is a budget deficit which we've computed quickly at the back of our envelope to be higher than 400 billion. It will be 400 billion in 2026, which is higher than about 300 billion in 2025. And this is going to lead to increased borrowings by the government. So all in all, I think it was an underwhelming budget. A lot of the measures have been announced by the president. There was really nothing surprising in it. Many aspects of the budget came from the APNU manifesto, including the title, Total Plagiarism. There was no increase in the minimum wage. These are some of the brief observations on this budget, and we will study it, and there'll be more commentary on it. But in one word, underwhelming.
You have it, folks. There you have it. But Terence Campbell, the absolutely visual reactions of Budget 2010. Thanks for joining us this morning. Before you go, guys, share the like for us. Smash that multi button. Naomi, I saw your comment there. I saw your comment, the biggest budget ever. Critics still using the water company, still costing the water company. That's going to be President. That's the time. That's the broadcast. Thanks for joining us. Pia Leacock and Savage and Neon and Pretty Milicia, Naomi and Simone and Sharon and Humi and all the other folks, Mandy, Michelle. Good morning to all of you folks. Thanks for joining us this morning. Heading off to that very important meeting. We're going to see you guys on the next one.